Tastes like Old Biddy, but not putrid. So I went and saw Mr. Holmes, and it's basically about an old biddy and wasps. Okay, actually, no. It actually was really good. The thing also that I had a concern with about this movie was just the amount of production companies that are attached to it. One of them may be BBC. And nothing against the BBC. The BBC pull out some pretty awesome stuff. But just when you see this many, like 6 or 7 production companies at the beginning of your movie, you're kind of dipping into an area of where this film is made for theaters, but really it should have been made for television. And at least to say it's not that, mainly because the cinematography in it is absolutely beautiful. It's some really great shots, and the characters are fantastic. And the costume design is great. Mind you, Brits can do late 18th, early 19th century stuff like with no problem whatsoever. So to see it on the big screen, it was cool just because the detail was fantastic, the costume was fantastic, the makeup on Ian McKellen was fantastic. Mr. Holmes is played by Ian McKellen, and the story is about Mr. Holmes trying to solve his last case, but he's not trying to solve it literally. He's trying to solve how he finished it in his mind. He's very old and Alzheimer's is starting to take effect, and he's trying all these different variations of how to try and make his mind more active that he can remember with different versions of royal jelly. At the very beginning of the movie, we see Ian McKellen just come off as this straight up old biddy. Straight up, like this grouchy old little foob. But it's only when he starts to bond with the family that are his housekeepers, particularly the young boy, that he actually starts to realize that it's togetherness that can actually make him remember. It's the bond he has with this young child, this youthness is embellishing itself onto him, and it helps him remember the story. The whole film is really about regret, Alzheimer's, and death. But the thing that this film really has an issue with is pace. It goes very, very slow. It's a slow burner, and it's definitely a different change from what we see with the Sherlock Holmes TV show. Because Ian McKellen is still able to do the certain tricks, like where have you been kind of trick, but it's not the forefront. That was another thing I was kind of worried about with this movie, is that it was mainly going to be focusing on what was different about the real Holmes in comparison to what Watson wrote. Because we get a little few things about the deerstalker hat not actually existing and the pipe actually not being really a prop. But that's not the focus, which I was happy about. It's more about the characters. These little things appear here now and then as kind of fan service, but really it is about this new character, which is interesting considering we are getting yet another interpretation of this character that's centuries old, but we're still enjoying it just the same. The film's variation of themes from death, Alzheimer's, and regret are fantastic. McKellen is really able to bring this new side of Holmes, another side, and he makes the character his own. And the guy's really good at acting decrepit, if I haven't said that before. He really does it well. And the supporting cast are really good too. Lauren Lindley comes off as this very angry, kind of weak mother, but she's weak because she has suffered regret and death. Her husband died, and she doesn't want anything bad to happen to her son. She'd rather have them both live in a pretty shoddy job than have him dead and gone. Also, the young boy in this film is very good too, considering he is kind of the catalyst of the hope that Mr. Holmes has. He has this very strong presence in the film, and he has a very close connection with Ian McKellen, and the chemistry between those two is very, very good. So it's youth, regret, death, Alzheimer's, all these really interesting themes that we've seen before in time a dozen. But in this film, it comes together and it works. So it's definitely not a movie you'd want to see in theaters because it really doesn't use that theater aspect. I just wanted to see it because it was either that or Mission Impossible 5, and I really wanted to see that, but I want to see that with friends. So in the end, my final rating for Mr. Holmes is a 5 out of 7. It's definitely not a rewatchable movie, and it has a few kind of pacing issues, but the performances are fantastic, the cinematography is fantastic, and the story, I actually really enjoyed the story. Ian McKellen, again, just absolutely amazing. So if you want to check it out, do maybe wait till it's on DVD. It's not that kind of a big theater movie, and I don't think I'd ever watch it again. Maybe I'd watch it again with my grandma, but really nothing else. So anyway, guys, that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you later.